And in the U.S. stock index, futures posted gains ahead of Wednesday's open as investors awaited news surrounding trade talks between the states, Mexico and Canada. Around 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Dow futures rose 6 points, indicating a positive open of 24.98 points, with the S&P 500 and Nasdaq futures pointing to an upbeat start to the day. And in Asia, the market were mixed today after the Nasdaq and S&P 500 hit another record high on Wall Street overnight as trade fears eased. Japan's Nikkei 225 ended the trading day up by 0.15% at 22,848 after hitting an earlier high of 22,968. South Korea's Kospi also closed higher by 0.26%. The Australian ASX 200 was up by 0.75%. The mainland China markets ended the trading day in negative territory. The Shanghai Composite fell 0.31%. The Shenzhen Composite fell 0.56%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index had earlier losses to trade near flat. And the British Prime Minister Theresa May, of course, is on a tour of African countries this week. Her first visit to the continent as Prime Minister. She is the first British Prime Minister to visit sub-Saharan Africa since 2013 and the first to go to Kenya and over 30 years. She was in South Africa yesterday and in Nigeria today. The visit comes at a time of enormous change across Africa with a unique opportunity as the UK moves towards Brexit for a truly global Britain to invest in and work alongside African nations with mutual benefits. Joining me on the show to discuss this visit and what it means for African countries is the President, Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Akin Olawari. Thank you very much, Mr. Olawari, for joining us on the show. So, what do you make of this visit by the British Prime Minister at this time?
Well, thank you very much. It's very indicative. One of the space Nigeria occupies in the UK-Nigerian bilateral relations, and also it also shows a reawakening of interest in the previous trading partner, I will say. I mean, why would I say previous trading partner? I mean, okay, yeah, we got our independence from the UK. Most of us got our education, UK type of education, our legal system, imported English laws. So everything works for them, you know, Nigeria and the Commonwealth. Of course, if you look at the areas that had been visited, they are the Commonwealth people where we speak this kind of languages. Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa. Nigeria is growing, even with all our challenges. We have gone out of recession. We're going gradually up. In the UK, we have the largest number of Nigerians, over 2 million people. So trade between UK and Nigeria is just supposed to be natural. And I think what she has done is to set the tone, you know, and let everybody know that, look, we are back in business.
Okay. Now, what opportunities do you see exist there for Africa and, of course, Nigeria in particular in a post-Brexit UK?
Yeah, thank you. Well, in the post-Brexit UK, I see a lot of opportunities. For Nigeria now, we will then now be looking at ourselves more like we're trading partners and work in a way, you know, there is this proposed trade and investment cooperation agreement in the works between Nigeria and the UK. And all of these are to open the doors for both of us to see how we can help each other. For instance, I remember at the last Commonwealth Business Forum, the Prime Minister spoke and said that, look, if we think that we need to look at standards, then let's work together to achieve the standards that can make trade to flow between the various countries of the Commonwealth. So between Nigeria and the UK, I believe this is something that wouldn't happen. We know that agricultural products will have to move from point A to B in the two countries. Services will move. The Lord Mayor was around. He spoke a lot extensively about fintech. We have PropTech. They got some successes in the UK. We got some successes here. We got some opportunities for business here. They have some things that they've been able to do. And now we'll be able to look at ourselves directly and be able to do the business. And that will be a lot better. We have the UK Export Finance Initiative and the new reform. So all of this now building up together. And with her presence, it sets the tone.
Now, in terms of promoting trade between Nigeria and the UK, what is the role of the British Chamber of Commerce? the Nigeria-British Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you very much. The main mandate is to promote that trade, but how do we promote the trade? So we organize outward and inward mission. And more importantly, we provide a platform for British companies who want to come into the country to be able to meet with partners, to be able to meet with those with which they can work. It's difficult for any organization, or anybody for that matter, no matter how brilliant you are, to go into another environment and be able to operate on your own. You need a local partner. You need somebody to handhold you. Now, this is what the Chamber provides. We have incubation center where we help them, even with all of the regulatory requirements, to help them to be able to get onto the ground and run. They say Nigeria is difficult to do this. It's not difficult. So we make that clear to them. All of the incentives of government, we help them to attract it. So we have a working relationship with NIPC to make sure that things are easy for them.
Right. I spoke to a trade expert earlier in the day, and he was like, okay, Theresa May is in Nigeria, but the issue is, what is the government bringing to the table? What is the private sector bringing to the table? What are they telling the Prime Minister at this time? So what do you think the government should be bringing to the table in this talk?
Right. I think that what the government needs to be bringing to the table on this talk now is to see how we can all work real as trade partners. We've had some challenges regarding agricultural products. Quite a number of them had been stopped at the border posts in the UK and returned for one reason or the other. No problem. But all we need to know is that for these reasons, if there are issues of standards and all that, how do we work together to make sure we're able to achieve that standard? Now we need to work as partners and not as, oh, you are still there? Okay, bring it in if you can. But now we're partners. I want you to bring it in because I want trade to grow.
All right, thank you very much for your time,
My
Mr.
pleasure.
Olaore. Mr. Akin Olaore is the President, Nigeria-British Chamber of Commerce. After the break, we'll look at how trading is coming up today at the equities market. To stay with us.